The human exploration ship Horizon moved through deep space with slow, steady motion. Its engines produced a soft blue glow as it crossed the quiet sector known as the Out Rim. Captain Laura stood at the main window of the command deck, watching the stars stretch across the darkness. She was calm but focused. Every long trip carried unknown risks, and she knew this mission was more important than most. The Horizon was the first human ship sent this far from Earth. It carried a small crew trained to handle both science work and peaceful contact. Laura had served in space for many years. She learned to read danger in the smallest signs. Her crew trusted her calm voice and her habit of thinking before she acted. Beside her stood Daniel Clark, the ship's science officer. He checked the monitors again, making sure no strange signals followed them. He had a quiet mind and a patient way of working. Laura liked that about him. The crew talked in low voices as they prepared for another day of routine checks. They expected the same silence they had known for weeks. Then the sensors lit up. A wide pulse of energy appeared near the ship. It was not a human signal. It was not from any known ally. Daniel felt a cold wave run through him. Laura walked over to his station. She asked him what had changed. Daniel explained that an unknown vessel had entered their range. It moved fast, far faster than the Horizon. It also had unusual readings around it, the kind he had seen only in experimental reports. The crew turned toward him. For the first time in the mission, they felt pressure. Laura told the crew to stay calm. She ordered the ship to slow down slightly so they could adjust. She made sure all systems were steady and told Daniel to gather more details. Daniel worked quickly, watching the strange ship's path. It did not act aggressive, but its movement was sharp, almost too perfect. Laura wondered if the vessel belonged to an old recorded species, one Earth scientists had mentioned only in theory. Across the void, a new ship closed in. This ship belonged to the Coalition. They had watched the Horizon from a distance for some time. They were unsure if the humans were allies or enemies. They were careful and often feared what they did not recognize. Their leaders believed safety came from knowledge and control. They had none of that now. The human ship showed energy patterns they had never seen. Inside the vessel, 3 commanders met in their planning room. Their names were, and was the oldest and believed in strict caution, had a sharp mind and quick temper, was younger but calm and curious. They all studied the readings of the human ship. Argued that they should prepare for battle. He said the unknown signatures might belong to a weapon. Agreed, saying they had to protect their borders. Disagreed. She believed the ship might be peaceful. She pointed out that the strange craft had not activated any attack fields, but refused to take chances. They told their crew to keep a safe distance but stay ready. As the Horizon moved forward, Laura decided to send a simple greeting. Daniel prepared a standard message. He checked the translator twice. The crew waited in silence as he sent the signal. It traveled into the dark, reaching the ships. The commanders reacted quickly, interpreted the message as an attempt to scan their systems. He misunderstood the gentle tone of the greeting, believed the humans were testing their defenses, tried to explain that it was only a greeting, but the fear in the room was too strong, ordered more ships to approach the humans. Laura noticed the cluster of ships forming around them. She felt the tension rise. Daniel checked the translator again. He told her that they did not answer. Laura knew silence could be a bad sign. She told the crew to remain steady but alert. She wanted no sudden moves. The ships grew closer. Daniel picked up a new signal from them. It was short and sharp. He translated it. It was a warning, had sent it believing the Horizon was a threat. Laura listened to the message. She frowned but stayed calm. She told Daniel to reply with a peaceful statement. She wanted to avoid any fear. Daniel sent the message. The translator changed the words. Something was wrong. The signal reached the ships. It carried a meaning no human would ever send. The mistranslated message sounded like a claim of control. The commanders were shocked, shouted that the humans were making demands, believed they were declaring power. tried to fix the misunderstanding, but her voice was small compared to the fear around her. The ships spread out in a defense pattern. They prepared for a possible attack. Inside the horizon, the lights dimmed for a moment as Daniel tried to repair the translator. He told Laura that something had changed in the translation codes. The problem had come from an old update they had almost forgotten about. Laura felt pressure in her chest. She knew how fast misunderstandings could grow. She told her crew to keep every system in combat mode. She repeated the order twice so no one would act by mistake. She opened a direct channel, hopping to speak without the translator, but the ships did not answer. The space around them went quiet again, but this time the silence was filled with fear from both sides. The horizon drifted in the center while the ships formed a tight ring. Laura stared at the ships around them. She could feel the weight of every second. Daniel updated the readings again. He told Laura that the ships were charging small energy fields. He could not tell if they were defensive or offensive. The horizon had a special field system, one that protected it from energy bursts. Laura hoped it would not activate on its own. It was still new and unpredictable. The crew sat quietly in their seats. No one moved fast. No one wanted to make the moment worse. Daniel adjusted the scans once more. He whispered to Laura that they were waiting for a sign. They were scared. That fear could turn into a mistake. Laura took a slow breath. She stepped forward and spoke softly even though her voice did not go through any channel. She told her crew they would not fire. She reminded them that humans believed in peace first. She trusted that if they stayed calm, they might understand. But the galactic void had its own ways of shaping events. A small shift occurred in the formation. A patrol ship drifted too close to the horizon. Daniel noticed its energy field brushing against their own. He warned Laura. She looked at the monitor. The readings were sharp and unstable. The patrol ship corrected its path too late. It clipped the edge of the horizon's defensive field. The field sensed danger and activated. The lights inside the horizon flickered. The crew grabbed their seats. A smooth wave of energy expanded around the ship. To the humans, the field felt like a soft pulse. It looked like a giant barrier forming. The nearby patrol ship was pushed back without damage, but its crew panicked. They had never seen a field like this. They believed the humans had triggered a hidden weapon. Watched the event with wide eyes. She said the humans were only reacting, but N did not hear her. Their fear had grown too strong. They ordered their ships to prepare containment arcs. They wanted to trap the horizon in a controlled space. Laura saw the ships shift again. She knew the situation was becoming dangerous. She did not want the horizon to activate more defenses. She told Daniel to lower all field levels if possible. Daniel worked quickly, but the field only responded to threats, not manual commands. The atmosphere inside the horizon grew tense. The humans felt trapped in the middle of a misunderstanding. They felt trapped by something they did not understand at all. Daniel whispered that they might take the activation as an attack. Laura nodded but kept her eyes forward. She said they would wait. She believed waiting was the only safe path. The ships started to power their containment arcs. Bright shapes formed around them. Daniel watched the readings rise. He told Laura that any clash between the arcs and the defensive field could cause more confusion. Laura stood still. She knew first contact was never easy, but she had not expected it to go this wrong. She hoped there was still time to fix things. She waited for a chance to explain. She waited for a moment when fear would break. But the moment never came, not yet. The silence around the horizon felt heavier as more ships formed their containment arcs. Captain Laura stood on the command deck, watching the shapes of light rise like walls around her ship. She felt the pressure in the air shift. Her crew felt it too. No one spoke unless needed. No one wanted to make a mistake. Daniel Clark monitored the defensive field that had activated earlier. The readings still showed gentle waves of energy around the ship, but he could tell the field was alert. It waited for any threat, ready to respond again. Daniel tried to understand how the ships would react. He hoped they would see that the field was not harmful, but fear rarely listened to reason. Inside the command vessel, and continued their discussion. Their screens showed the human ship glowing softly inside the defensive field, believed it was a sign of power. He insisted that humans were hiding advanced weapons, agreed that they must not take chances. They believed their containment arc would limit the horizon's movement and force the humans into negotiation. Continued to push for patience. She explained again that the humans had sent peaceful signals. She reminded her commanders that fear often caused mistakes, but believed leadership meant acting before danger grew stronger, and's voice carried more force than caution. In the end, they ordered the full activation of the containment arc. Back on the horizon, the crew watched the arcs close in. The arcs were made of controlled energy patterns that could restrict ship movement without direct damage. Daniel studied the energy flow. He whispered that if the arcs reached the defensive field, there might be another reaction. Laura felt her heart tighten. She did not want that. She told Daniel to try one more direct message. This time he used slow, simple words. He bypassed the translator and used a basic signal format often used in emergencies. He sent a message of peace. He told that they did not want conflict. The message left the horizon, crossing the dark space. Inside the ship heard the message first. She understood it immediately. She said the humans were not hostile, but did not believe the humans would use such simple signals unless they were hiding something. Paused but stayed cautious. Fear still guided them. As the arcs moved closer, the energy pressure increased. Daniel saw the reading spike. He told Laura that the defensive field would react again if the arcs touched it. Laura considered every option. She could not shut the field off. She could not run. Running would look like an attack. Fighting was not an option. She decided to wait and hope they would hesitate. But the arcs touched the defensive field. A bright ripple spread across the horizon. The field reacted again, pushing back gently but firmly. The arcs flickered. The nearest ship drifted backward. No damage was done, but its crew panicked. They had never seen a defense system capable of revering their energy structures. Inside the command ship, alarms rang. Shouted that the humans were using disruptive technology, called for emergency measures, tried to calm them, shouting that the field was only reacting to pressure, not attacking. But her voice was lost in the noise of fear. Many ships prepared to defend themselves. Some raised shields, others charged small weapons. They did not plan to fire, but they needed safety. To them, the human ship was unpredictable. To them, unpredictability meant danger. Laura saw the shifts. She felt the moment tilt dangerously. She told her crew to keep everything steady. She repeated that no one would return fire even if targeted. She reminded them that their role was peace. Daniel nodded. He trusted her judgment. Another ship attempted to stabilize its arc by moving closer. That movement caused another reaction from the defensive field. A soft wave rolled outward. The ship spun slightly before its engines corrected. The crew inside believed they were under attack. Saw this and made a choice he believed was necessary. He ordered all ships to hold their positions and prepare a full containment lock. The lock would trap the horizon completely. Supported the decision. Felt her stomach twist. She knew this would push the humans into a corner. On the horizon, Daniel saw the energy build up. He told Laura what they were planning. He explained that a containment lock would force the defensive field to react strongly. It would push back with more force. That could scare them even more. Laura stood still. Her eyes stayed on the window. She thought of every story she learned about first contact. She thought about how small mistakes grew into large conflicts. She felt the weight of the moment. She decided they needed to take a risk. She ordered the horizon to power down half its systems. She did this to show they meant no harm. She hoped they would see the change and pause. Daniel carried out the command. The ship grew dimmer. The defensive field weakened slightly but stayed active. The ship saw the change, pointed it out. She said the humans were trying to show peace, for a moment hesitated. He studied the readings. The horizon looked softer now, smaller, calmer, but argued that it was a trick. He said the humans wanted them to lower their guard. Listened to both sides. He felt torn, but fear still sat in him like a heavy stone. He ordered the containment lock to continue. The arcs tightened. The defensive field strengthened automatically to protect the horizon. The waves grew brighter. Daniel cursed under his breath. The field was preparing for a full push. A bright flash spread across the space as the arcs touched the stronger part of the field. The ships were pushed back again. Some spun, some shook. None were harmed, but the shock traveled through every ship. Thought it was an attack, shouted orders for retreat and regrouping, tried one last time to stop the escalation. She said the humans were only reacting. She begged them to listen, but the command structure drowned her out. The ships began to move into a wider formation. They wanted to avoid the field but stay close enough to contain the humans. The space around the horizon widened, but the fear did not fade. Laura watched everything with tired eyes. She felt sadness more than anger. She had hoped first contact would go differently. She had hoped understanding would come sooner, but fear had shaped the moment. Daniel sat back in his chair. He said they might think the horizon was preparing for war. Laura said they would not fire. She said they would wait. She trusted that after the shock, they might think more calmly. For a long time, nothing happened. The two groups drifted slowly in the void, watching each other. No words were exchanged. Only quiet fear filled the space. Inside, the command vessel felt the weight of the silence. He wondered if he had made a mistake, stood by his side looking tense, remained quiet. She hoped for one more chance. On the horizon, Laura walked to the center of the command deck. She spoke softly to her crew. She told them that fear shaped the moment, but patience could shape the future. She believed they would reach out again. Daniel agreed. He believed they would understand once the shock faded. He believed they would see the horizon had not harmed them. Slowly, very slowly, the moment began to settle. The arcs around them dimmed slightly as the ships adjusted. The defensive field around the horizon softened. The first sparks of hope began to form. But neither side knew that the most important revelation was still ahead. And when it came, it would change everything they believed about humans. The space around the horizon stayed quiet for a long time. Captain Laura stood at the front window, watching the ships hold their wide formation. Their containment arcs were weaker now, but they still surrounded the human ship like a silent cage. The defensive field around the horizon flickered softly, no longer reacting but still alert. Daniel Clark sat at his console with tired eyes. He had been monitoring the readings for hours. He hoped they would send a message. Even a simple signal would help them understand the situation. But nothing came. Only the slow movement of distant stars broke the silence. The rest of the crew stayed quiet, speaking only when needed. They all felt the weight of the moment. They all knew how quickly fear could shape actions. Laura kept checking every station, making sure everyone remained calm. Inside, the command vessel sat with his hands clasped together. His face looked older than before. He had expected the humans to attack after the last energy push, but they did not. They stayed still. Their ship dimmed again, showing no signs of aggression. Felt uncertain. Stood beside him, watching the human ship with sharp eyes. He believed the humans were waiting for a chance to strike. He believed their calm look was a trick. He wanted to increase the containment strength again, but refused for now. Sat near the command table, studying the energy patterns around the horizon. She saw something new. The defensive field was changing its shape slightly, not growing stronger but becoming softer. It looked like the field was adjusting itself to reduce tension. She told this. She said the humans might be trying to show peace by letting their field relax. Listened carefully. He respected its understanding of energy systems. He also knew she was the voice in the room. He asked her if the defensive field could be controlled by a crew or if it acted on its own. Explained that the field looked adaptive. It read threats and responded without waiting for commands. If the humans did not want conflict, the field would show that. Slowly nodded. For the first time, he allowed himself to think that the humans were not dangerous. Back on the horizon, Daniel finally spoke. He told Laura that the ships were lowering their containment pressure. The Orcs were still present, but they were less bright. Laura felt a small wave of hope. She walked to the communication panel. She told Daniel to prepare another simple message. She wanted to try again, even if they ignored it. She believed patience mattered most. Daniel sent a peaceful message using the same basic code as before. This time, he added a clear symbol of non-aggression used by many old species. It was a simple circle, a universal sign of calm motion. The signal drifted out into space. Inside the command ship, the signal reached first again. She smiled when she saw the circle. She showed it too. She explained its meaning. She said the humans were offering peace. Breathed out slowly. It was the first time he felt something other than fear. He asked what he thought. Still did not trust the humans, but even he could not deny the meaning of the symbol. Then made a decision that changed the course of the moment. He ordered the containment arcs to power down. Not completely, but enough to show a clear sign. On the horizon, Daniel saw the arcs dim further. He whispered to Laura that something was changing. Laura walked closer to the window. She watched the arcs drop in brightness. She placed her hand on the glass. She whispered, "They are calming down." Her crew slowly relaxed, not fully but enough to breathe more easily. Daniel kept checking the readings. Then he noticed something new. One ship was moving closer, slowly and carefully. It kept its shields low and weapons inactive. Laura watched the ship. She felt no fear now, only a mix of hope and caution. She told Daniel to hold steady. She ordered all systems to stay passive. Inside the approaching ship, stood at the front window. She had convinced to let her ship move closer. She believed the humans deserved a chance. She believed fear had already caused enough problems. Her ship moved toward the horizon, stopping at a safe but respectful distance. Daniel detected a new signal. It was weak, but it was there. He read it carefully. It was a greeting, a simple one, a soft one. Laura felt her chest warm. She told Daniel to answer with another peaceful message. This time, she added a respectful tone used in old Earth languages. Daniel sent it. On the ship, received the reply. She felt relief wash through her. She told her crew that the humans understood them. She told them first contact was not broken yet. She told them there was still a path forward. But as hope grew, something unexpected happened. Daniel noticed a strange energy spike near the horizon. At first he thought it was a weapon, but the readings did not match. He looked again. The energy was coming from below the horizon's main deck. He ran a deeper scan. His eyes widened. "Captain," he said quietly, "it's the defensive field. It's changing again." Laura turned toward him. Changing how? Daniel showed her the readings. The field was shifting from a passive mode to an analysis mode. It had detected something in the energy signals. It was scanning their systems. Laura felt cold. She had forgotten the field had an automatic learning function. It scanned energy patterns to predict threats. They might see this as a hostile act. Daniel tried to stop the scan, but the field did not respond. It was doing the task it was built for. It wanted to identify the technology. Inside the ship, alarms triggered again. Their screens showed a thin wave of energy touching their shield layer. It did not cause harm, but it looked like a scan. Froze, shouted that the humans were searching for weak points, tried to explain that it might be automatic, but fear rose again. The ships shifted. Many moved back into a formation. Some raised shields, Others prepared emergency defenses. Laura saw the movement. She knew what caused it. She told Daniel to try to shut down the field. He tried again, using a different command code, but the field continued its scan. It was too deep into the process to stop now. The situation tightened again. Fear climbed in every corner of the fleet. Sent a signal, asking the humans why they were scanning. She did not accuse them, but her voice held worry. Daniel received the message. He told Laura that the wanted an explanation. Laura took a breath. She answered with honesty. She told them the field was automatic. She told them they were trying to stop it. She told them they meant no harm. Read the message. She believed it, but did not, refused to accept it. He said no one created a system that powerful without a purpose. He believed humans were more advanced than they admitted. The ships remained on edge. Daniel watched the defensive field complete its scan. A soft pulse spread across the horizon. The pulse reached the ships. It was harmless, but it caused another wave of panic. Almost ordered a retreat, almost ordered a strike. But then something unexpected happened. Received another reading. She studied the pulse. She compared it to the earlier waves. She realized something no one else had noticed. She sent a message to. She said the defensive field was not a weapon. It was built for survival. It had no offensive layer at all. It could defend, but it could not harm. Stared at the data. He checked it twice. He checked it a third time. He felt the truth settle into him. The humans did not have a secret weapon. They had something else. A system built only for protection. A system created by a species that had faced danger not from enemies, but from nature. A species that survived because they learned to defend, not attack. He began to understand. Inside the horizon, Laura waited. She hoped they would see the truth. And slowly, the ships began to lower their shields again. One by one, their containment arcs faded. Hope returned to the silent space. But the biggest secret humanity held was about to be revealed next. And when it was, the entire galaxy would rethink everything they believed about humans. The space between the horizon and the fleet grew quiet again. This time, the silence did not feel heavy. It felt uncertain, but in a softer way. Captain Laura stood at the front window, looking at the distant shapes of the ships as their shields lowered one by one. She felt the tension inside her chest ease for the first time since the misunderstanding began. Daniel Clark watched the defensive field readings fade into a calmer pattern. The field was not fully inactive, but it no longer scanned or responded to pressure. It rested in a neutral state, waiting for commands or threats that did not appear now. The crew spoke in gentle voices. They could tell the moment was changing. They felt hope slowly take shape. Inside the command vessel sat in silence. His earlier fear had changed into something else, something closer to curiosity. He studied the energy records again. The human defensive field had shown no signs of attack functions. It behaved only as a shield more advanced than anything that had seen. Stood beside him. She explained the patterns once more. She said the humans must have faced something powerful in their past, something that forced them to build such a system. Listened but did not speak. He still felt uneasy, but he no longer believed the humans were planning an ambush. Knew the moment had come to speak to the humans. He ordered a communication link to open. He asked to send the message, since she had been the voice throughout the situation. On the horizon, Daniel received the signal. He turned to Laura. "They want to speak with us directly," he said. Laura nodded. She took a slow breath. This was the moment she had been waiting for. She told Daniel to open the link. A soft projection of light appeared at the front of the command deck. This image formed. Her expression was serious but not hostile. Laura took a step forward. Spoke slowly, using simple words. She explained that the misread the defensive field. She said fear shaped their actions. She asked if the humans built the system as a weapon. Laura answered honestly. She told that humans created the system to survive, not because of war, but because of nature. She said that long ago, Earth faced destructive cosmic events that nearly ended life many times. Humanity grew stronger by learning to protect itself. Daniel added that the field was designed to adapt to energy patterns so the ship could survive unexpected dangers. It was not made to hurt anyone. It was built like a shield that learns. Listened carefully, she saw truth in their words. But then she asked a question that surprised the entire crew. She asked, "What happened to your world that made you create such a shield?" Laura paused. She looked at Daniel. She looked at her crew. They all understood what she needed to say, but they also knew it would reveal humanity's greatest secret, the secret that had sensed but never understood. Laura answered slowly. She said Earth was a world filled with beauty and danger. Volcanoes, storms, cosmic radiation, asteroid impacts. She said Earth survived because humans learned not to fear nature, but to study it and rise above it. Tilted her head. "But many worlds face natural dangers," she said. "Ours did too, but we never built a shield like yours." Laura nodded, then she explained the truth. She said Earth faced something far greater than storms or asteroids, something that lasted thousands of years, something so powerful that it erased species again and again across history. Daniel took over. He said that Earth had extreme magnetic storms from the sun that once hit the surface directly. He said that Earth lived through a period of violent radiation that almost destroyed the planet's surface life. Humanity survived because early humans found ways to adapt, building shelters, learning how to protect their bodies and their minds. The commanders exchanged looks of disbelief. Laura then revealed the deeper truth. Humans learned how to build protective systems not only for themselves, but for their world. They created early shields, weak at first, then stronger. Technology grew as they protected Earth again and again from cosmic catastrophes. She said, "We survived because we had no choice. Earth forced us to become this way." Absorbed this. She looked at the energy field around the horizon again. It made sense now. Humans created the system because they lived with danger that no other known species had endured. Finally spoke through the projection. His voice was steady. "You protected yourselves from nature, not enemies, not other civilizations, but the universe itself." Laura nodded, "Yes." The grew quiet. For a moment, the entire fleet remained frozen in thought. They realized humanity did not rise through war or conquest. They rose through survival. They became strong because the universe forced them to be. Looked down, his earlier fear now shifted into something like respect. Felt calm, felt humbled. After a long pause, spoke again. He said the coalition had believed strength came from military power. They believed danger meant war, but humans showed them something new. Strength could come from resilience, from adaptation, from facing the universe without fear. Said, "We misjudged you. We saw danger where there was none. We let fear guide us. For this, we ask for understanding." Laura gave a small, tired smile. She said humans understood fear very well. She said fear was something every species shared. Daniel added that humans wanted peaceful contact. They wanted to learn, exchange knowledge, and support each other. His expression brightened. She asked if the Horizon crew would accept a meeting in person, not through projections, not through signals, but face to face. Laura agreed. She said they would prepare a formal meeting room. She asked if the wish to send a small, safe delegation. Approved it. He said he and would come personally. The projection faded. The communication link closed. The crew of the Horizon looked at each other. For the first time since the mission started, they smiled without fear. Daniel leaned back in his chair and whispered, "We did it." Laura nodded. "No, we started it. The real work comes next." Preparations began quickly. The meeting room was arranged with simple chairs and a neutral lighting setup. The air was filtered for biological safety. The defensive field stayed active but at its weakest possible setting. The ship moved closer, docking gently with the horizon. When the doors opened, Laura and Daniel stood waiting. Entered first. His presence was calm. Followed, her eyes curious and warm. They looked around, studying the room. It felt strange to be inside a human vessel after all the fear and confusion. Laura stepped forward and offered a gentle greeting, returned it in his own way. His voice trembled slightly, but not from fear, perhaps from relief. The two sides spoke for a long time. They asked questions. They shared knowledge. They compared worlds, histories, and challenges. They learned about Earth's long struggle for survival. The humans learned how they built a society guided by caution. The meeting lasted many hours. Both sides felt their understanding grow deeper with each moment. At the end, made a formal statement. He said the coalition wished to form a partnership with humanity, not a military alliance, not a treaty of convenience, but a shared path forward. He said, "We wish to learn from you, and we wish to share what we know. Together, our future may be stronger than anything we build alone." Laura accepted the offer with grace. She said the Horizon crew would report this to Earth, and she believed Earth would welcome the opportunity. Then spoke softly. She said she admired humans for enduring the universe's harshness without letting it turn them into conquerors. Laura replied that humans had learned a simple truth: strength was not for domination, it was for protection. When the meeting ended, the delegation returned to their ship with peaceful hearts. The Horizon crew watched their vessel drift back to its fleet. The defensive field around the horizon pulsed one last time, settling into a dormant state. Daniel turned to Laura and said, "This will change the galaxy. They will tell others. News will spread fast." Laura nodded. "Yes, and when they tell the story, I hope they understand the most important part." Daniel waited. Which part? Laura looked out at the stars. That humanity did not scare the galaxy because of power. We scared them because we survived things no one else could, and we learned to protect, not destroy. Daniel smiled, and now they know. Laura nodded softly. The horizon drifted peacefully now, no longer trapped by fear. The fleet escorted them gently through space. A new path had opened, a new understanding had begun. And the galaxy, for the first time, understood humanity's terrifying secret: the strength to survive anything, and the choice to use that strength for peace instead of war.